In the headlines of this hour on VTV News, party leader meets Russian State Duma chairman to discuss enhancing Vietnam-Russia ties. Later on, Vietnam's state president to attend the Third Belt and Road Forum in Beijing. In our world news, countries working to open humanitarian corridor for civilians in Gaza.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning. It is currently 8 a.m. local time and you're tuning in to 30 minutes of VTV News. I'm Lin Lei with the latest updates. Now, the top news of today's hour, Vietnam attaches importance to strengthening its comprehensive strategic partnership with Russia. Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng told Russian State Duma Chairman Vyacheslav Viktorovich Volodin at a meeting in Hanoi on October the 16th. He thanked the former Soviet Union, now the Russian Federation, for their valuable assistance and wholehearted support to Vietnam during its past struggle for national liberation and independence and the present cause of national construction and defense. The party leader also outlined major orientations to further forge Vietnam-Russia relations in the time to come. Volodin, for his part, affirmed that the State Duma, represented by different political parties, supports the strengthening of the comprehensive strategic partnership between Russia and Vietnam. The Russian Federation considers Vietnam a priority partner in its foreign policy in the Asia-Pacific region. Also on Monday morning, Vietnamese State President Võ Văn Thưởng received the chairman of the State Duma of the Russian Federation, who is on an official visit to Vietnam. They are scheduled to co-chair the second meeting of the Inter-Parliamentary Cooperation Committee of the legislative bodies of Vietnam and Russia. State President Võ Văn Thưởng believes that this visit will contribute to further strengthening the good relationship between the two countries' parliaments and deepening the comprehensive strategic partnership between Vietnam and the Russian Federation. The state president also proposed that both sides continue to promote high-level exchanges. He expressed hope for strengthened cooperation in the fields of defense, security, science and technology, education, culture, and people-to-people exchanges. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính met with Chairman of the State Duma of the Federal Assembly of the Russian Federation, Vyacheslav Viktorovich Volodin, in Hanoi on October the 16th. At the meeting, the Prime Minister affirmed that bilateral relations between the two countries have made many positive developments in many fields. However, the economic and trade relations between the two countries recently have not been fully exploited. The Prime Minister said he has directed Vietnamese ministries and branches to coordinate with Russia to continue promoting cooperation in traditional fields such as oil and gas, industry, agriculture, education and training, culture and tourism, science and technology, as well as actively implementing bilateral cooperation agreements. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính on October the 16th also chaired a conference with foreign businesses operating in Vietnam to address their concerns and encourage them to grasp opportunity in doing business in the country.
At the conference, representatives of the foreign business community highly appreciated investment environment of Vietnam, affirming confidence in the operating policies of the government and the Prime Minister.
The global landscape in the first half of 2023 presented us with a number of challenges and hurdles. In that context, the government and the Prime Minister have closely worked with ministries and local authorities to promptly resolve difficulties and obstacles for business. The macroeconomy remains secure.
In this momentous period of grave challenges and lurking opportunities, we highly believe in the potential of Vietnam. The relentless government's efforts in building an ecosystem for innovation with the National Innovation Center is a great example in this regard. Secondly, we want to highlight the importance of a stable, predictable, and favorable business environment. We highly appreciate government's persistence and endeavors in improving the local business environment.
At the meeting, on behalf of the party and state leaders, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh thanked businesses for coming to Vietnam to invest, showing the government's resolve to help the FDI sector overcome difficulties and operate efficiently amid global economic difficulties.
The Vietnamese government always protects the legal and legitimate rights and interests of investors in any case. Secondly, we always accompany businesses to overcome difficulties and challenges, on the principle of harmonized benefits and shared risks. Thirdly, we do not criminalize economic and civil relations, but handle those who do wrong and violate the law and protect those who do right, creating an open and transparent production and business environment and ecosystem.
For the business community, the Prime Minister requested businesses to research and build long-term, sustainable, environmentally friendly development strategies and in accordance with Vietnam's plans, improve localization rate, develop supply chains with the participation of Vietnamese businesses, participate in human resource training, invest in infrastructure, support Vietnam in improving institutions.
Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh hosted a reception in Hanoi on October 16th for visiting chairman of the Cambodian People's Party or CPP Central Committee's Commission for External Relations Prak Sokhon. Both sides noted with pleasure the thriving relations and shared the view that the bilateral relationship has significantly contributed to maintaining political stability, ensuring national defense and security, and socio-economic development, and raising the position of each party and country. Both expressed their belief that the good neighborliness, traditional friendship, comprehensive cooperation, and long-term sustainability between the two countries will be consolidated and enhanced for the sake of their peoples. Receiving India's External Affairs Minister or EAM Subramanyam Jaishankar on Monday, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh affirmed that Vietnam attaches great importance to the Vietnam-India Comprehensive Strategic Partnership, suggesting that the two countries regularly maintain bilateral cooperation mechanisms. The Prime Minister discussed his high regard for defense and security cooperation between the two countries. He recommended that the ministries and branches of the two countries strengthen cooperation to promote two-way trade and investment turnover. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh expressed his hope that India encourages large corporations to invest into Vietnam in infrastructure, seaports, logistics, oil and gas exploration and exploitation, and renewable energy. On October the 16th, under the chairmanship of National Assembly Chairman Vương Đình Huệ, the National Assembly Standing Committee commented on reports that review the socio-economic development situation in Vietnam. More to follow.
At the meeting, members of the National Assembly Standing Committee appreciated the government's efforts in the context of many international and domestic difficulties. Vietnam's socio-economic situation continues to recover. From the results of the first 9 months of the year, it is estimated that for the whole year 2023, at least 10 of 15 targets will be met. The year 2024 is forecast to have difficulties and challenges that need specific analysis and solutions to respond.
We have to focus on solving short-term problems but also stick to our long-term vision, because this time we are talking about a 5-year mission and the restructuring. Now is good timing for promoting growth model transformation, restructuring, improving productivity, quality, efficiency and competitiveness of the economy. As for restructuring, we should focus on key areas and key accelerators that can bring changes. For example, if we talk about restructuring state-owned enterprises, we should focus on changes within state-owned enterprises. If we talk about restructuring of the financial system, we should focus on the credit institutions.
Also at the meeting, comments noted that the government is more interested in implementing salary reform.
This is a salary adjustment associated with job position and associated with increased responsibility and discipline. The employment position of civil servants must also be reviewed and rearranged. Those who lack a sense of responsibility, work ethic and violators will be removed from the system.
Members of the National Assembly Standing Committee also suggested that more attention should be paid to improving the quality of human resources, effectively implementing comprehensive reforms in education and training, developing and innovating vocational education.
At the invitation of General Secretary and President of China Xi Jinping, State President Võ Văn Thưởng will lead a high-ranking Vietnamese delegation to attend the 3rd Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation in Beijing, China from October the 17th to the 20th. The president's business trip affirms Vietnam's consistency in strengthening and consolidating political trust and friendship with China, contributing to stability, peace, cooperation, and development in the region.
Belt and Road Initiative is an initiative implemented by China since 2012, aimed at strengthening trade routes connecting China with Europe, the Middle East and Africa. According to the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, by the end of 2022, the country signed 206 cooperation agreements under the initiative with 151 countries and 32 international organizations. To date, representatives of more than 130 countries and more than 30 international organizations have confirmed their participation in this forum.
The Vietnamese state president accepted the invitation of Beijing to attend the 3rd High-Level Belt and Road International Cooperation Forum, and this is also the 3rd time that Vietnam's key leaders have attended the forum. It shows the Vietnamese side's high regard for this cooperation framework. This is also an important opportunity for Vietnam and more than 100 partner countries to discuss issues regarding cooperation and development plans together.
Taking place in the context of Vietnam and China celebrating the 15th anniversary of establishing a comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership, this visit of the Vietnamese state president continues to stabilize the common understanding achieved during the official visit to China of General Secretary Nguyen Phu Trong in 2022, maintain exchanges and contacts at high levels, contributing to strengthening political trust and friendship between the two sides.
Meetings between State President Vo Van Thuong and senior leaders of the host country China and many countries and international organizations on this occasion will open up new and substantive bilateral cooperation opportunities.
Two-way trade turnover between Vietnam and China reached more than $175 billion last year and more than $89 billion after the first 7 months of this year. China is currently the 6th largest FDI investor in Vietnam with a total registered capital of nearly $26 billion. Vietnam's participation in the Belt and Road Summit Forum and increased cooperation within the framework of this initiative will continue to connect and promote trade and investment relations between Vietnam and China, and between Vietnam and the region.
Coming up next on VTV News. Vietnam to address human resources issues for the semiconductor industry. And later on, many residential areas in Da Nang City struggles with floods. Welcome back to VTV News Live. Now continue on with other important stories. Vietnam is researching and developing a draft semiconductor industry development strategy until 2030 and a vision to 2035. Although that is an industry with great potential, human resources only meet 20% of labor force demand. Thus, the Ministry of Education and Training is developing an action plan to deploy training engineers, bachelors, and experts for this industry.
The Hanoi National University trains 1,500 students each year related to semiconductor industry. At this time, this university is expected to double the number of training programs. In addition to engineers and bachelors, students who have studied related majors will be trained for 6 months to 1 year to promptly join the human resources for this industry. However, the training now is still facing challenges.
Incentives in this industry now are not attractive. We hope that there will be more policies to attract more human resources to this industry.
Universities as well as the Ministry of Education and Training will discuss the human resources demand for this semiconductor industry in each phase. From that, we will have a plan to train students appropriately.
This year is the first year that the University of Information Technology, at the National University of Ho Chi Minh City, will pilot a separate admission for the IC design major. It is expected that next year it will be built into a separate training major.
This industry is hard. It requires students to put in a lot of effort for employment.
We need to have a mechanism to attract students, support universities in investing in facilities and improving teaching staff. We also need more cooperation between universities and businesses to create job opportunities for students.
Many plans will be focused on in the coming time, such as building training programs and a team of specialized lecturers. All efforts aimed at building semiconductor human resources that meet both quantity and quality for this promising industry.
The theme for this year's World Food Day focuses on the role of water in life, aiming to raise awareness about the importance of water resources for food security, health, and peace. Our reporter conducted an interview with Mr. Remy Nono Womdim, Chief Representative of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations in Vietnam, to gain a deeper understanding of the significance of water and Vietnam's efforts in ensuring food security.
Thank you for joining the interview with VTV. Vietnam is one of the largest rice exporters in the world. In addition, it also ensures domestic food security. So how do you evaluate the efforts of Vietnam?
Vietnam is indeed a global and regional leader on agri-food systems. As you know, Vietnam is the lead cashew nut exporter to global markets, second to Brazil for coffee, and third, rice after India and then Thailand. So this is a very remarkable achievement. Yet indeed there are some other challenges. It's good that Vietnam so far can do very well in terms of agri-food production.
The world is still facing food security risks and challenges of Vietnam are still there. So what coordination projects does FAO have with Vietnam in order to overcome these challenges?
Vietnam and FAO has been cooperating since 1978. So this year also marked the 45th anniversary of Vietnam-FAO cooperation. There are many ongoing projects. Our cooperation, to make it very simple, can be articulated around 3 key pillars. The first pillar is data gathering for insightful and informed decision. The second area of cooperation is policy support, the formulation of policy, the formulation of strategies like the current national strategy for sustainable agriculture and rural development, and then also the formulation of projects and programs. And then the third area of cooperation is finance.
So once again, thank you for joining our interview.
Moving on to other news, in Da Nang, heavy rain returned Monday morning, leaving many low-lying residential areas of Hoa Vang district still flooded and cutting off many roads. More in the following.
From morning until now, Nguyễn Hùng in Hoa Phong Commune, Hoa Vang district, has been struggling to clean up and bring furniture in his house to a safe place in case the floodwaters rise.
My family lives in a lowland area, so we are very careful. Last year, there was a big flood. Thus, we have to prepare to respond for the floods this year.
Following the commune's requests, we took a handheld loudspeaker and went around the village area to inform people about flood and support them to clean up houses as well as relocate people to a safe place.
Hoa Vang District People's Committee has mobilized forces to critical areas to continue supporting people in cleaning up the mud. At the same time, the district directed a force to go to heavily flooded traffic points to prevent people from passing through to limit damage to people and property.
The Vietnam Summit in Japan, also known as the Vietnam Intellectual Forum 2023, commenced at the University of Tokyo on Sunday. This year's forum has brought together 72 distinguished speakers from both Vietnam and Japan. The event is one of the activities commemorating the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Vietnam and Japan.
This year's forum focuses on strengthening investment cooperation, innovation, sustainable development, technology transfer, and opening up new development opportunities for both Vietnam and Japan. After years of organizing the Vietnam Summit in Japan, it has contributed to expanding the global network of young intellectuals, including scientists from universities, research labs, and specialists from enterprises worldwide.
I have participated in all the forums, starting with the first one in 2019. Every time I come here, I'm able to connect with experts in the field. For me, the Vietnamese Summit in Vietnam offers both theoretical and practical guidance.
Science and technology are rapidly advancing fields. These young Vietnamese intellectuals possess skills not only in traditional fields but also in emerging fields such as IT. Significant capital is required to foster growth in scientific fields. Therefore, our company is actively seeking financial cooperation with Vietnam to promote mutual development in these areas.
The Vietnam-Japan Science, Technology and Trade Exhibition was held for the first time at this year's forum. The exhibition featured 21 booths and showcased Japan's scientific strengths, policies, and cooperative management models for science and technology development that can be applied in Vietnam. Additionally, the exhibition included the second Science and Technology Anthology.
According to a recent report published by Residence Consultancy, a leading tourism advisory firm based in Canada, Hanoi was ranked 96 on a global list of the top 100 tourist cities in the world. This ranking was up by 1 place compared to last year. Hanoi was recognized for its vibrant outdoor and shopping activities, which include traditional markets and high-end shopping services. The city also boasts impressive heritage structures and a lively nightlife. The top 3 cities on this year's list are London, UK, Paris, France, and New York, USA. In addition to Hanoi, Singapore and Bangkok were the other 2 representatives from Southeast Asia in the top 100. Coming up next in our world news. Countries working to open humanitarian corridor for civilians in Gaza. And later on, U.S. focuses on electric vehicle manufacturing investments. Moving on to our world news, Egypt, Israel and the U.S. tentatively agreed to a ceasefire in southern Gaza beginning at 1 p.m. Vietnam time, coinciding with the reopening of the Rafah border crossing, 2 Egyptian security sources said on Monday. However, Israel has denied this information amid widespread speculation about a large-scale military campaign that Israel will carry out on the Gaza Strip. Saudi Arabia's Al Arabiya channel said a 5-hour ceasefire was imposed in the southern areas of the Gaza Strip with the aim of providing humanitarian aid to this land and allowing foreign citizens to leave. According to Al Arabiya, hundreds of tons of aid from NGOs and several countries were waiting on trucks in the nearby Egyptian town of Al Arish for conditions to allow entry to Gaza. However, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office issued a statement confirming that there is currently no ceasefire for humanitarian aid in Gaza in exchange for removing foreigners from the conflict area. During the visit to China, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Monday met with Chinese counterpart Wang Yi to discuss bilateral cooperation and international issues. At the bilateral talks, the two foreign ministers also discussed the military conflict in Ukraine and its resolution by political and diplomatic methods. The Russian foreign minister said Russian President Vladimir Putin will visit Beijing this week and will discuss all aspects of bilateral cooperation with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Dengue fever has killed dozens of people in Laos and Thailand. The number of dengue fever cases in the two countries since the beginning of the year has increased sharply, especially during the rainy season from May to October. The Thai Ministry of Health said that until mid-August, Thailand recorded more than 65,500 cases of dengue fever with 58 deaths, 3 times higher than the same period last year. Meanwhile, according to statistics from the Laos Ministry of Health, the number of dengue fever cases in this country from the beginning of the year until last Thursday has reached more than 30,300 cases, including 17 deaths. In this context, health officials in Laos and Thailand have both asked people to be careful and take disease prevention measures to avoid the outbreak. From early next year, people who buy new electric vehicles may be eligible for a tax credit as high as $7,500. The new policy, along with many infrastructure measures, are expected to increase the demand for this industry.
The information that the electric vehicle buyers may be eligible for the full value of the EV tax credit received a positive response.
It's absolutely a good nudge to get people to switch from gasoline to electric cars, and it's a step in the right direction. For this car, I got $7,000 for next year.
The U.S. government has developed electric vehicles to reduce emissions, save costs, and reduce dependence on imported oil. In California, electric vehicle development is key to promoting clean energy industries.
Our ambitious goals by 2025, 2 years from now, that maybe we can get there. 1.5 million electric vehicles sold in the state of California. We exceeded that goal earlier this year.
I think I'm going to buy it. 125.
135.
Yeah, because they're hot items right now. They're selling over sticker. So I think I'm getting a good deal. Electric cars, they're the future.
The rapid development of electric vehicles also leads to the development of new services such as electric vehicle charging stations.
And before I say goodbye, here's the latest update on the weather scene. And that is all that we have for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can visit our website, our YouTube channel, or download a mobile app VTVgo for more. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.